And I would say too, you know, when I started, you know, my podcast, Fatherhood the Involved Father, you know, one of the things I grew up without my dad. You know, I didn't meet my dad until I was 21. And one of the words that I've learned in my adulthood was when I had my son was compensatory fathering. And that was being the father to your son the father that you never had. So when I would substitute the word example with the word influence, because my mom, you know, growing up, she single parent mother, right? And there was a lot of examples that being a parent, like I didn't agree with, obviously in her personal life and obviously in her professional life and obviously in her romantic life too. You know, she was in and out of relationships, and these examples that I was seeing, it was like, and is obviously it was just something I didn't want to, like, this household, this dynamic I didn't want to have when I grew up, when I had kids. And honestly, growing up, I didn't when I met my wife now, like I didn't want kids, you know, growing up, just because of how I was raised. But my mom always put me around great influence, around a lot of great Black men, right? Like whether it was coaches, I was in the Naval Sea Cadets growing up, so I was always sharp. So like even now, you know, I'm in a business professional setting, you know, outside of sports, where I have locks, you know, and I've never like looked at myself like, man, like, you know, obviously, and being in this world like corporate America, you know, statistically, yes, it's a lot of like white men that run it. But now it's like, you know, how I was raised, I'm confident in my skin and I know who I am. And that was one thing, like, you know, my mom always installed into me, and that was her always putting me around great influences, because she knew how she was raised, and she didn't want to raise her kids that way.